Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today is the day that I will showcase my top 10 most expensive games I own in my collection. So, if you tell somebody that you collect video games, the number one question is going to be, what is the most expensive game you own? The answer to that question really depends on the market, which is always fluctuating like my dating life. But mostly, the value of games increases over time as the scarcity of it becomes more and more imminent. Bottom line is, how many people want it and how much are they willing to pay? Coming in at number 10, we have Phantasy Star. Valued at around $60 to $240, depending on condition, like every game on this list. Needless to say, games are in mint condition, unsealed with all the original contents, will fetch at a higher price. A solid Master System collection should always include a copy of Phantasy Star. One of the most iconic games of the RPG genre and a defining game for the Master System. I consider this game to be the foundation and start of RPG games, as it was one of my favorites growing up. Phantasy Star comes in at number 10. At number 9, Streets of Rage 3. Ranging anywhere from $70 unsealed to $3,000 sealed. This game series has been a staple for Sega fans of the beat-em-up genre. Streets of Rage 1 and 2 were always plentiful in stock due to high demand, but once the third was released, this is when we saw a rise in popularity of the 32X and the Sega Saturn debuted. Also, Street Fighter 2 and Mortal Kombat rose to the top, so Streets of Rage 3 saw a lower print run and was only sold to established fans of the series, thus making it number 9 on my list. Number 8 spot, we have Castlevania Bloodlines. You can find this game unsealed at around $60 to sealed and graded at around $770. The plastic case ones were valued much higher than the cardboard ones. Bloodlines is the only Castlevania title to be released on the Genesis with the classic feel of the NES trilogy still intact. Now, throughout my research, I found that there's still a surprising amount of sealed copies, but most of them are of the cardboard ones. So if you have a plastic sealed copy, make sure to keep it in a safe place. At number 7 is Burning Rangers. It ranges from $100 to $500. This late Saturn title is a sci-fi style game that focuses on putting out flames and rescuing civilians as a distant future's superhero. It got a laid-back atmosphere with vivid color palette and by far one of the catchiest soundtrack of the era. The game was extremely well received and at the time it was considered one of the best games released for the Saturn in North America, with only 5,000 copies produced. Since the Saturn's afterlife, Burning Rangers has remained to be one of the most valuable and collectible titles in its library, which earns itself at number 7. Coming in at number 6 is Conker's Bad Fur Day for the N64. Prices vary from $100 to $500. Considered one of the rarest N64 titles, this game released back in 2001. Today, the highest quality and perfect mint condition have sold as much as $1,100. Conker's Bad Fur Day is an adult-oriented game that involves a hungover squirrel from the night of binge drinking who finds himself in the middle of a field and he just wants to go home. It also has characters like a super sexy bunny that reminds me of Lola Bunny from the original Space Jam. No, not the LeBron remake. And we can't forget the giant poop character. Yeah, there's a lot of toilet humor in this game, and because of the doo-doo, it comes in at number 6 on my list. Number 5 is Earthbound. This SNES classic can range from $350 to $4,000. It was originally released in 1995 with a serious price tag of $70. It came in a small care package with items to accompany the game, which included a guidebook, scratch and snip stickers, and a few other items. Imagine having the discipline to not scratch and snip the stickers. It was hard for Earthbound to compete once the N64 dropped and reception for the game was low from the get-go. Only 150,000 copies were sold, but since then, a cult following for the game emerged, and the obscurity of it has rocketed the price. definitely one of the more common games on my list, but still one that deserves a number 5 spot. At number 4 is Panzer Dragoon. You can find copies from $300 to $1,200. This game was iconic, yet it was underappreciated franchise of on-rail shooters. As time went by, the game has become legendary and a treasure not only purely in terms of collector's value, but as a true status as an amazing game. You know, it will excite many fans if Sega were to republish this game, but there is a bizarre rumor that the game's source code was somehow mysteriously lost forever. This game in the saga was considered one of Saturn's most valuable games, and that's why it comes in at number 4. Coming in at number 3 is Snatcher. This classic low-profile game can range from $900 to $1,600. Coming out during the final days of the short-lived Sega CD console, it was only discovered by hardcore gamers. With a strong sci-fi influence from the Terminator and Blade Runner, this cyberpunk theme game is widely appraised as groundbreaking for the adventure genre. If only I could say that about Cyberpunk 2077. With an excellent soundtrack, in-depth character development leading to a mesmerizing storyline, you can see why Snatcher comes in at number 3 on my list. The number 2 spot goes to Samurai Shodown 5 Special. This gem ranges from $2,000 to $3,800. The series began in 1993 and was a major part of SNK's fighting game library. The first version of Samurai Shodown 5 was the 4th and last official AES release, but the special version was actually the very last official game of the Neo Geo system, which was released in 2004. The special edition featured a plethora of changes, such as swapping of bosses, graphic and sound changes, gameplay tweaks, and the most notorious, a handful of bonus fatality effects that was actually censored for the home version due to controversies from their arcade release. This censor created many bugs, and quickly after, SNK recalled a lot of cartridges, making the game even more scarce. Scarce enough to be number 2 on my list. And finally, at number 1, drumroll please. Japan Pro Golf Tour 64. This game is so rare, I could hardly find anything online about it. I did come across one listing on eBay with a starting bid of $3,848. This game is a golf simulation game developed by the short-lived Nintendo 64 disc drive add-on. It features 6 gameplay modes and multiplayer for up to 4 players. So, a little background story about how I was able to acquire it. I stopped by a small town outside of Kyoto for lunch during my travels in Japan, and just so happened to come across an old, broken down second-hand shop, which piqued my interest. And while browsing, I stumbled upon a complete set of the Nintendo 64 with controllers along with a 64DD peripheral and this game attached to it. My eyes lit up, and because I had been searching for this game for the better part of the decade, I paid the price tag of $2,000. You know I had to copy. Have you guys heard of any of these games? Play them? Or maybe own them? Well, that's all for this list. Let me know in the comments if I should do more top 10 videos, maybe rarest consoles, rarest Japanese games, or even PC games. If you enjoyed the video, a sub to the channel would be priceless. I'm Edison, signing off until next time.